Blessings to one and all. Grace, peace, love, everyone. Hope everyone is doing great. Let me see if I could just pull up something on the screen pretty quickly. Wishing God's blessings on all the people of God. And we are about to get into a type of conversation taken from my second book, a bit of information in respect to the male perspective, female's perspective, I should say. Uh, my endeavor has been to share some thoughts about several of the things men think on, several of the challenges we have as men in society, in broader society, and the opportunity for men to be transparent, to be honest, without having the backlash that so many brothers have talked about. So many guys have regretted saying certain things. Being honest, they have regretted that move and decided to not be transparent as should be happening. So today is the part two of a series that I have recently begun on relationships from a male perspective. And I wanted to look at this entire subject within the context of the average man. An average man looking for a woman looking for a guy, how the average guy thinks on several things, how he operates, why he operates, and he doesn't operate in certain ways. And this goal does include the informing of women, of the sisters, on how they can get a better communication with their husbands, with their boyfriends, with the men in their lives. The man, I should say, specifically one man, not more than one in your life. And I would also go as far as to say for the women in respect to those who want to have more than one options. I know there are some persons who think if you have more than one option, then you could pick and choose which guy is the real one. Now, in some respects, I somewhat grasp that. I kind of grasp that in a bit. However, it's a serious issue when it comes to playing with people's feelings. I know that persons might watch things often as they are not intentionally trying to play with someone's feelings. But if you are leading somebody on, if somebody is showing you interest, and you are there with that person, and that person is thinking of that while you continually carry the person through the role or through the journey of a relationship, then it would definitely be one whereby persons see a bit of a misleading, a misguiding of a relationship. So I do invite women to be very careful when it comes to having more than one guy on the table and you are courting all these guys. Be wise. It's not a kind thing to treat somebody like that. Everybody has their feelings, and it is wise to be considerate of people's feelings. You don't want anyone to treat you like that. So by fairness, it is not wise to do that to other people. That being said, let's get into what I want to share today. Within the context, the broader context of my second book, which is entitled insight into understanding some men. And this book has been developed to give some guys an outlet to have a brother. There are other men as well, but I am trying to do my part in whatever little way I can to have a brother share on some of the challenges we as men face, some of the things we desire to discuss on. And today, what I want to journey into is the matter of a man going silent. When a man goes silent. A number of women have experienced this. You have experienced the behavior when your man is no longer talking. He was talking before, okay? And you ask yourself, why is he all of a sudden not speaking? Why is he not communicating with you in the way he used to communicate? Well, my dear sister, you know very well that nothing just happens. Everything happens because of a reason, or many reasons, several reasons. You yourself would know that things don't simply happen to you unless things simply happen to you. But for many women, it is known that a woman reacts the way she reacts based on one or more reasons. The same thing applies to guys. Men react in ways similar to you ladies. Men react based on things that would have been said or things that would have been done. So a man goes silent. It could be your husband, it could be your boyfriend. It doesn't even have to be someone that intimate with you. It could be someone at work, someone at school. It can be another relative, cousin, father, an uncle, a grandfather. A man goes silent. What causes a man to go silent? There are numerous reasons. I want to zone in on the one that you, dear sisters, can actually have influence on. Something that you might take within yourself to check and see, well, what is the reason the man has become silent? Checking oneself is very important. One should be willing to check themselves. It's not about a blame game. It's not about trying to blame yourself or you always being the wrong one. It's not about that. It's about willing to see oneself as an assessment of your own self development. Did I have any part to play in this particular silent situation? And that is within the realm of you already don't know why he has become silent. Or you have an idea, but you have not factually confirmed just why this man became silent. You have an idea. Perhaps it's what I said this morning or yesterday, or what I did yesterday or this morning, or what I did not do. You know, why has he become silent? Checking oneself is incredibly important because that man is a human being. Just as you are a human being, just as you have feelings, just as you have emotions, this man himself, he also has feelings. He also is a human being. He also has struggles. He has ups, he has downs, he has good times, he has bad times. Yes, he does. And I'm saying all these things because, we tend to, in society, we say it, it's like, all right, the man has feelings. And after that is said, we move on. It's like a passing comment. It's not, in some circles, really looked on seriously. We don't really pay close attention to that so that we could deal with that in a proper way. And when a woman pays attention to her man, not another man, and she listens to his pros and his cons, the reasons why he is acting the way he's acting, and the possible solution for that behavior, then you are better equipped to deal with your man, not any other woman's man, but your man, the man that you are with, the man that you are currently engaged to or married to. You are paying attention to him, particular attention you are paying to. We are not trying to compare him to any other guy, any guy who is in your past, who treated you in a certain way. I'm not saying that you should allow this new guy to treat you terribly. No. But you are paying attention to this guy. You are learning about his ups and his downs. You have to really invest in your man so that he does feel appreciated, because the man is he is different from the woman. Yes, he is, but he shares similar traits at times, behaviors at times to the woman. A woman fears, a man fears from time to time, but often a man hides some fears, not all his fears. Some fears he hides. And some things a woman is afraid of, a man is not afraid of. So the balancing is very important, that even though we do have similarities as men and women, we do have differences. Because yes, I do get tired and she gets tired. But how she might express her tiredness and how I might express mine might be very different. And the things she might get tired for is not necessarily the same things I might get tired for. It doesn't mean we will never get tired or cry or get angry for the same things. It doesn't mean that everything we get tired, angry, we cry, we laugh over, it has to be different. Every single thing has to be different. No, it doesn't mean that. There are things that we will share, and that's why we build a connection, because there are things that we share in common, but then there are things that are unique to us. And a woman has to learn her man. This is incredibly important. Our society has spent an enormous amount of time demanding for the man to learn the woman. I have said before that yes, there are things in society that encourages the woman to learn the man. But to be really honest, sisters, a lot of us guys, a lot of us, we view that society is more directed towards us learning you. So we have to learn to do this for you and that for you. I am not a major person behind Valentine's Day and all that kind of stuff. That's just me as an individual. I'm not coming against anyone who does that. But you will see often in Valentine's Day, much of the attention is directed towards the woman. We would see even in society when it comes to Mother's Day and Father's Day, greater attention is paid towards the woman than the man. It's not as though there is no attention paid towards the man. No, absolutely not. But in terms of what gifts could be bought for the man for Father's Day and what gifts could be bought for the woman, many women have testified themselves, I don't know what to buy for him. What should I buy for a man? Those things are evidence of how society views the man, how much meaning we have in society. And we watch, ladies, we watch. And you know what? We are silent. We are silent because sometimes we say something and we get a kickback. Many a times we are we are quiet. We will go through our challenges within our minds. Our minds are our solitary place. Amongst other men, there's where we find solitary. There's where we can commune with someone who is going to understand us, be able to recognize the challenges that we face, recognize the struggles that we go through, and truly understand us. And I'll say this, ladies, that there are men who will kick back at a guy who is speaking within a circle of guys. Yes, one guy could tell another guy, you are wrong. But you see, men know how to pace one another. We know to be very direct with another guy. And we can say things to one another and we can have that resonate. Now, the unique thing with all this being said is that women can do that also. And several women have done that. I know some persons already might be thinking it's only guys could be straight with other guys. I can't be straight with my man. He's going to answer me back. But if another guy told him, he wouldn't answer that guy. Sorry to say this, ladies, but it's not 100% like that all the time with all guys. I can tell you that. Because some guys speak to another, one man will talk to another man and be very direct. And when he's direct, he gets a answer back. So it's not a free for all. Guys don't operate in such a way where one guy could say something critical to another one and the other one would just stay quiet. No. Several times you say something to a guy and the guy will, as we say, put you in your place. Oh no, that's not your place. I've held my tongue at times when persons said things out of context. It wasn't their place by other guys making certain comments. And then some other times, I was very direct. So there's a balancing act, even amongst guys. A woman has such a level of intimacy with her man that she has something above every other man. She has something above every other male friend and relative. If you are his companion, his wife, to be more specific, you have that place that no other guy could have. Even in terms of being transparent and being honest, you have that opportunity for that place. But it depends on how you use your skills. It depends on that. You have to know how to gauge the man that you are with. You have to know what are the things you should promote and what you should not promote, the things you should push, the things you should hold back on. And if you are able to wisely understand your man, then that is going to help your relationship to grow. I dare say, anytime, ladies, a man becomes silent with you, and the issue is within your relationship, not external, but is actually within your relationship, that is not a good place for the relationship. And I will equally say it applies to men. If a woman becomes so silent in a relationship and it's because of the man, it's not a good place for the relationship to be. So I want to be fair as I hit this aspect of the subject. I want to be fair there. Yet, let's keep on target that we are dealing with the man, understanding your man. Why would a man become silent? A man would become silent because for him, he believes he has spoken so much. He has explained to his wife or his girlfriend on this issue. He has showed his dislike, his frustration, or his desire for encouragement or what have you, he would have expressed that and then come to a place where he realizes he is wasting his time because he is telling you what he says, what he thinks, what he feels. And get this, there are fellas who are expressive, you know. There are guys who would talk about their feelings and their emotions or what have you. But I'll tell you this, many men are not like that. There are a number of us, a large number from my observations thus far, locally and broad in the broader regions. There are a number of guys that hold their feelings, their emotions to themselves. They keep that back. That's a bit of a training that we have developed over the years. We are taught to feel pain, to go through pain, but to go through that pain silently. Go through whatever we have to go through silently. So when a woman has a man that is speaking to her, and men tend to be pretty straight. Not all, I know not all, but quite a number of guys are very straight. They tell you whether they like something or they dislike something. A lot of them are very, very straight. And when a man has expressed his like or his dislike in something, and he realizes that his words are going nowhere, it is doing nothing, what would the man do? What would he do? He would stop speaking. He would go silent. Because a man often doesn't like to be repeating something over and over. It's frustrating. That's why we get certain terminologies like nagging. And this is not an attack, as I hit this part here. But hearing something repeated over and over to a man, he finds that to be nagging. And you notice it's very interesting that that nagging term, that word, is mostly applied to women. You don't really hear about men being nagging. I'm not saying there aren't any nagging men. I believe there are. But you don't really hear that term being applied to men. That term is mostly applied to women. Constantly hearing something over and over again. Something she might want, something she might desire. No. A man has a type of approach where it is a woman would come to him and ask him to carry out the garbage, and she didn't give a specific time. So, okay, carry out the garbage. I'll carry out the garbage when I'm ready. You didn't give me a specific time, so I'll carry it out when I'm good and ready. And then you come back and you say, okay, you're carrying out the garbage. I say, yes, I'm carrying it out. You didn't tell me that you wanted the garbage taken out now. Did you want it taken out now? No, but I expect you to take out the garbage. All right, well, I'll take it out. You just said you don't want it now, and I expect that you didn't want it then when you told me half an hour ago. I thought I was going on my time. I didn't know I was going on your time. What time do you want me to take out the garbage? No, I'm not rushing you. You know, some women will say it like that. I'm not rushing you. Well, then stop rushing me. You are nagging me. Some guys, a lot of us, think like that. And then you see, this is how we operate, ladies. Because of an experience, and if such an experience as I have just painted happens like 2 or 3 times, meaning that today it happened, next week it happens, the week after, or today, tomorrow, and the next day. Well, from now on, what happens in our minds, many of us, not all, that's why I named my book Insight into Understanding Some Men. Some. That's why a number of us will decide. As she tells me about taking out the garbage, I'm going to take it out immediately. And you know, sometimes a woman would kind of like pull back as she says it. Now the guy, he drops what he does and he goes and he takes out the garbage immediately. He was washing the wares, he stops washing the wares and he goes and he takes it out immediately. And she's like, what are you doing? And he is saying, well, you want me to take out the garbage, and before you come and repeat that over and over to me, which is going to nag me, is going to get on my nerves, I'm going to take it out one time. So I'm going to save myself from that repetition. I'm going to save myself. Here's the interesting thing. Here's the interesting thing. Not only in that type of context is it recognized as nagging, but we ourselves don't like to be repeating things. Just simply the repetition over and over. I told you about this particular thing, this particular issue, this problem that I have. Okay? And if I'm telling you about this particular issue that I have, especially when it comes to something the man doesn't like or he wants to see his woman do, he is often telling that, giving that information now for a change thereafter. But Brother Devon, isn't that the same thing as the taking out the garbage? No, it's not. Because the man is not requiring that the woman changes in the same day or the next half an hour that he made the request. He shared the information. He said, I don't want you to be doing this particular thing. He's not expecting that to change in the 24 hours that he would have said that. He is expecting that to occur. Perhaps the very next time a situation very similar to that would occur. What example can I get? Let me see if I can get an example. Let's say there's a family gathering and she calls her husband to give a speech within this family gathering. The man, he doesn't like that. He doesn't say anything, but what he does, he smiles through the process. He goes, he does this speech because she called his name. And he doesn't want to look bad or anything like that. So, he does the speech. He struggles for words, but he does what he could do. Thereafter, either the same day or the next day, later on in the day or the next day, he brings it to our attention. You see that what you did there? I didn't like it. And he says that in a very nice, very respectful way. Now, he's not expecting another family function, well, depending on your culture, the very same day, later on in the day, or the very next day. Perhaps it'll happen the next week or something like that. But having spoken to her, he is expecting her to move to suit. You have heard what I have said. I don't like it. So now when there is another function in the midst of not her family this time, but her colleagues, her co-workers, she calls them up to speak again. He gets annoyed because he is thinking, what is going on? Didn't I tell you I don't like this? I made it abundantly clear. I don't like this. Well, evidently, you don't care for what I'm saying. I am wasting my time, my energy. I'm going to go silent. And that's what happens to a number of men. I will fairly say that several women would take this type of practice. I've always said not all, but a lot of women will take this practice. That if you have made something very much known to your partner and they persist, even though you have told them your displeasure in something, it says to the man or to the woman that they are not taking what you say seriously. They are not putting the things in place which does what? It causes a distance in the relationship. It causes a distance whereby communication can be hard. And I will tell you this, ladies, several men would decide from the very beginning, if there is another family function, workers line, or whatever, he is going to try his very best to have himself busy so that he cannot be there and he will not be put in that position. He is not going to necessarily seek to speak more on that issue. The man is going to get silenced, which to me is a terrible place to be. Uh, each one of us in relationships, both the man and the woman, have to listen to one another. You have to listen to the things that your partner likes as well as the things they dislike. Will you get everything right? No, especially not the first or the second time. But there is a time period, and I'm not trying to make this extreme, but there is a time period where your partner will give you space in that time period to work that issue out. You might mess up this time, you might mess up the next time, but sooner or later, my friend, you need to pull yourself together. Because when your man goes silent, as that is the subheading for today's subject, when a man goes silent, when that man goes silent, that's not a very good place to be in at all. You want your man to speak with you, ladies. When your man is speaking with you, he is doing something that a lot of men not doing. He is telling you what he likes, what he dislikes. He is drawing close to you, ladies. And if he reaches a place of, okay, enough is enough, and he decides not to speak to you, be very careful as to who he might be speaking to. If he is not speaking to you, who might he be confiding in? Who might be getting his attention? Who, ladies? Who? You are not with him 24 or 7 days a week, 12 months for the year, every year. You are not at his very side, glued to him physically. Yes, we could use all the relationship jargon and speak about you all are one and all that. That's good. I'm not against that. But I tell you, you cannot be glued to that man everywhere he goes. And you shouldn't even strive to do something like that. Else you make yourself seem as a control freak, a crazy person. And that is going to push him even further away from you. You want your man to communicate with you. You want your man to share his likes as well as his dislikes. The dislikes in your man is not a negative. The mere fact that he could share things he doesn't like with you speaks positively. It all depends on one's perspective. That is what it depends on. If you watch that as a draining thing, a bothersome thing, well then, my friend, you are going to be in for a world of surprises. All relationships has pros and cons to it. The only relationship that has only pros is the relationship, a deep fellowship with Almighty God. That's it. Every other human relationship you have, it's going to have pros and cons. It's going to definitely have pros and cons. So you have to be open to hearing your husband's, your boyfriend's negative views on certain things. Not to be critical, not to be demeaning, not to always be finding a problem, but be open to hear what your man has to say. And when he says certain things, he is desiring the same thing that you are desiring. When you bring up things, results. The man is expecting results. You will have expectations, as a sister shared with me recently, and I fully agree. I actually wanted to write on expectations, but I was in my book on insight into understanding some men, this book that persons would be seeing on their screen right now. I wanted to have that as an area within my book, but I changed my mind and I said I might put that in another book that I intend to write, God's Be Alive. But expectations is a very serious thing. All of us as human beings have expectations. All, every single one of us. Whether the expectations are high or low, we all have expectations. When a husband shares things with his wife in terms of things he doesn't like, he expects some change so that things would work in a way wherein it will be favorable and he would like certain things. And the same thing applies for a woman. When a woman speaks things to her husband, a wife speaking to her husband about things she doesn't like, she is going to expect change. So we all have expectations. Now, I've said quite a bit about the husband and the wife, a little bit about the wife in terms of expectations and so on. And we're still looking at this issue of when a man goes silent. Now, this might seem a little surprising to some people, but even God goes silent. Even Almighty God goes silent. In treating with the very first human king for the nation of Israel, you all may remember him. His name, King Saul. Saul would speak, God would speak to Saul through prophets and what have you. But Saul was stubborn. God attempted to correct Saul by giving him instruction, directing him along the right path, giving him commands that he was supposed to walk in. Saul did his own thing. And there came a point where the Bible talks about the Spirit of God leaving Saul. An evil spirit came upon Saul and troubled Saul. David had to come and David had to flee and so forth. And David was accepted by Saul for some time until Saul started to get jealous of David because of David getting a lot of praise by the people. Saul went deeper and deeper into his own self-willed thinking, doing his own thing. And the Philistines came up to fight against the nation of Israel. Saul, being the king of Israel, he wanted Almighty God to work in Israel's favor, to give them the victory. And the Bible talks about Saul saying that God wasn't speaking to him any longer, not by prophets, visions, dreams, nothing. So God went silent on King Saul. If you study scripture, several theologians and so on, what they speak about is a time period between the Old Testament and the New Testament, where several theologians, not all, but quite a number of them, call that time period between the Old Testament and the New Testament 400 years of silence by Almighty God. So these theologians, these scholars, they speak of no word coming from God to the nation of Israel. And I want to say again, as we deal with this subject of when a man goes silent, please know, ladies, even God has gone silent. God went silent for Saul. God went silent in other times as well. God can go silent. Far more for us as human beings, mere men, we can go silent ourselves. What we should do as couples, men and women, is take that time to pay attention to ourselves and make the needed adjustments for improvements within our relationships. Ladies, pay attention to your man. Pay attention to the things he says. Understandably, you may not get everything right. Understandably. But work that with your man. Make sure you work that. Work out certain things. There are some things your specific man, he could handle. Some adjustments he could handle, especially if you talk with him early, letting him know, all right, babe, I'm going to try this. I may slip up at times, but I want you to work with me, please, if I mess up. And give space for the man when he does the same. Oh, yes, you have to be fair. You have to be fair. You cannot expect that the man, he should tick the box, all your boxes that you want him to fix up and get right away. But you don't want to apply that to yourself. No. If you want patience and certain things, immediately the man is going to expect patience. And if you are going to be unfair, then the guy is not going to really fight up too much with you. Many times he will not even tell you whatever. He's going to do whatever he chooses to do. And some of those things that he would choose to do will not be nice at all. So I seriously encourage you, ladies, as the Bible talks about the woman, the man dwelling with his wife according to knowledge, you dwell with your husband according to knowledge yourself. Don't just focus on him dwelling on knowledge about you. You are not the center of the universe, sisters. I'm sorry to say that, but you are not the center of the universe. You are important to the man, but you are not the center of the universe. You are a human being, just like he is a human being. You could respect him, he could respect you. You all could love one another. But your will is not above his will. Neither is his will above yours. The ultimate will we should be focused on is the will of Almighty God. Trust me, there will be that official time when the prayer, thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven, that is definitely going to come to pass. Jump high, jump low, as we say here in Trinidad and Tobago, that is definitely going to come to pass. And the more we practice his will being done, is the better off we will be. So we will not exalt ourselves. No, we will learn to humble ourselves. We will learn to improve on relationships so that we can avoid that time of the man going silent. So with this, I conclude as I say, thank you for listening. Please feel free to share this video, invite persons to check out Knowledge, Understanding, and Wisdom Discourse. Check out my second book, Insight into Understanding Some Men by Devon A. Mendoza. It's on Amazon, it's on Kindle. Persons can get their copies there, hard copies, soft copies. Those who are in Trinidad and Tobago, you all can reach out to me. In the interim, I want to wish everyone a fantastic day. Love to the ladies. God bless you and keep you. Walk in strength and health. Bye for now.